Right. So welcome all to yet another session and wishing you all a happy new year 2025. This is the first reading session of 2025 and we are starting a new book today, The Abundance Book by John Randolph Price. So I have already shared the link if anyone wants to purchase. Yeah. Hello Ramesh ji. Yeah. Namaste. So we're just starting, and as I was mentioning that the link to the Kindle version has already been shared in the group. However, it's not a free book, so either you all may choose to buy it or read together. That is also fine because I've already bought it. So let's start with the introduction part. It's a very small book, so very easily we can cover in this particular month. So my screen is visible, right?
Yes, it is visible. You've already read it, or you're reading with us?
Yeah, not read. I am reading with all of you. Yes.
Okay.
Just purchase it is around 200 odd priced, and then it's a very small book, so I thought let's start with this book today. In this month, it's already half of the month gone, so rest half of the month we can definitely and easily finish this complete this book on the prosperity and abundance.
Right.
Okay, so let me start reading and then I will pass the mic to Kavita ji or Ramesh ji or whoever is joining.
Okay.
Since the beginning of the civilized world, enlightened ones have taught that prosperity is a part of the natural process of life, and that lavish abundance is the unquestionable nature of each individual. And through the centuries, countless men and women accepted this truth, realized the law of infinite plenty within, and moved above the illusion of sarcastic scarcity into reality of unlimited wealth. They proved for themselves that the energy of abundance is constantly radiating from the source within and flowing out to appear as money and financial well-being. So this is a very important line, and I love this book. Why I have chosen the another reason for that is it's having a spiritual connotation, and the author himself is also having that mindset. And in this particular line, it is quite evident that the energy of abundance is constantly radiating from the source within. So when it is radiating from within, we have all the control to create the abundance that we want and radiate that to outside world. So it will appear in terms of money, financial well-being, and many more aspects. So the outer manifestation is directly proportional to the inner manifestation that is again in our control. So all that we are going to learn and manifest is the inner abundance, and the outer abundance will automatically flow seamlessly or effortlessly. What one has done, all can do. The secret is to be aware of this unfalling principle, to understand that lack is simply the outpicturing of false beliefs, and to know that as you make the correction in consciousness, you will become a channel for the activity of ever expanding affluence in your life. So, our aim is to become the channel for activity of ever expanding affluence in our life. And once we are mindful of this, then we can definitely become the channel. If we are not mindful, if we are not aware, then we are not. So let's be mindful now. The purpose of this book is to provide you with an easy to read collection of prosperity ideas for quick study and reference. This is also very a key point. It's the collection of prosperity ideas for quick study. And that's how actually the book length is very small, hardly 76 pages, yet it is one of the costliest book, even though the length of the book is small, short, because it is having the key points, prosperity ideas. You can refer to it throughout the day to remind you that you are the wealth of the universe individualized and that the only limitation you have are the ones you have imposed upon yourself. The only limitation you have are the ones that you have imposed on yourself. Whatever belief we have, that is correct. If we are believing that we are in a miserable condition, we are in a miserable condition. If we believe that we are already moved or uplifted ourselves to the prosperity, then also that is correct, and we are in the journey. The journey has started well from the point of a belief when we believed firmly that yes, the journey, the abundance mindset has already reached. In part one, the message of prosperity is traced through the ages. In part two, you will find the 40 days prosperity plan from my book, The Workbook for Self Mastery, as well as an introduction to the audio download. In part 3 was written to help you condition your consciousness for a deeper understanding of energy of money, and part 4 is a prosperity compilation for some of my other books. This material certainly is not the last word on the subject of supply. However, if you practice the principle and dedicate yourself to opening consciousness to the infinite riches within, it won't be long before you awaken to your divine inheritance. And with each awakening, more of the error patterns of lack and limitations are erased from the collective consciousness. This is what actually is also one of the intention that we have. We need to erase the limitation and the error patterns that has already been carved in our consciousness or subconsciousness from the collective consciousness also. The good of the whole does begin with each individual, and we are the change makers. So from us, the good of the whole has started. Now let's start with the part 1. Part 1 is about tracing the principle of all sufficiency. Tracing the principle of all sufficiency. This book could not possibly. Okay, anyone wants to take over and want to read?
I can read Bikashji.
Sure, Mr. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, where should I read from? I dropped out by mistake short while back.
Here, here, from the starting of part 1. This book could not possibly cover.
Okay. This book couldn't possibly cover all the teachings on abundance that have flowed through the channels of ageless wisdom, and which have been adapted by Western culture and reinterpreted as spiritual metaphysics. The concept of all sufficiency was a building block of essentially all philosophical and religious systems in their original form until the 2nd century AD, when the war against self-knowledge and self-reliance began. The ancients taught that to understand oneself was to understand God, and through the process of meditation, one could realize the divine energy from within and transmute discord into harmony, ignorance into wisdom, fear into love, and lack into abundance. The initiate was trained to conceive the highest and noblest ideas as the vision for manifestation, and then to identify the symbols of the vision with the master spirit within, the source of all. Students of the mysteries were also instructed in the use of the innate radiatory and magnetic powers in exercising dominion. By working with the rhythmic energy of self, whatever form that was needed for exchange, the legal tender of that time, was brought forth as an instrument of goodwill. As such, money was simply a token of appreciation of one's service, a symbol of love and integrity. Regardless of the level of instruction, one particular teaching remained constant throughout the initiation process: mind and emotions embodying love, gentleness, and peace, eliminated limitations. That is, such a consciousness of harmlessness freed an individual from the bonds and restrictions of human thought. The mystery schools of Asia, Egypt, Persia, and Greece provided an invaluable service to humankind by reawakening the spiritual powers in a core group of dedicated men and women. This knowledge of harmony and fulfillment, contained in sacred books and secret teachings in the Hebrew Kabbalah, in the beliefs of Hindu and Buddhist mystics, in the Gnostic writings of early Christianity, and in certain passages not removed from the Bible. Through the inspiration and teachings of Jesus, the Gnostics, from the Greek word gnosis, which means knowledge, continued the esoteric tradition. The writings emphasized the oneness of God and man, the divinity of the individual, and the creative power of each soul to rise above limitation. In the Nag Hammadi texts discovered in Egypt in 1945, considered older than the New Testament Gospels, we have a literal library of Gnostic writings. In the Gospel of Thomas, one of the 52 books found, Jesus made it clear that when you know your true identity, you realize that you're one with the living Father. And then, to emphasize the truth that your consciousness of the presence within constitutes your supply, Jesus says, "But if you will not know yourselves, then you dwell in poverty. And it is you who are that poverty." From the Gospel of Philip, we are reminded of the esoteric practices of transforming vision into manifest forms. What you see, you shall become. The Gnostics worshipped the pure spiritual light of the indwelling Christ. And through their knowledge of the thought form energy and the principles of manifestation, they were able to cooperate with spirit in the realizing of the creative powers, at least for nearly 300 years following Jesus' time on earth. In AD 180,
Uh,
180,
yes, Ramesh, so as we have decided to limit the time to 15 to 20 minutes,
sure,
let's so we will go slowly. Maybe going forward, we can extend to 20 25 minutes, but we'll start in the right 1:30 at right 1:30, and we will complete by 1:45 max. So that for last 5 minutes or 2 to 5 minutes, we will be discussing the main
discuss.
points.
Sure. So shall I stop here?
Yeah, so we will continue from here tomorrow.
Okay.
That is from the PS2. We have covered very less, but it's okay. We have understood what is the introduction was about and the main idea of the book. And this line is also very important. If you will not know yourself, then you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty.
Um,
So this is very profound. We
yeah.
need to know ourselves, and spirituality is definitely taking us towards that. So spirituality actually is taking us towards unlimited prosperity. We just need to remain aware and remain aware with the laws of universe and laws of prosperity, laws of abundance, so that we can manifest in the right manner.
Mm.
And here, this particular and also has attracted my attention. He says that we reminded from the historic practice of transforming vision into manifest form. What you see, you shall become.
Yeah.
So we have heard many times that what you think, that you become. This is an extension of that. What you see, you shall become. Because when we see something, automatically uh, we tend to think about it. So automatically the thinking starts from there. So what we see, we become. So with this line, let's end today's session, and we will come continue tomorrow and see
It means
how
your drishti is very important.
this is very important. Correct? Because what drishti, what is coming to our eyes, that creates an impression, and that goes to the mind also. And when
Mm.
it goes to the mind, impression is there, automatically the thought will evoke. Now, if we have a detached mindset, then we will not be impacted much. But otherwise, very naturally and very normally, the impact will start, and we will shape our destiny towards that. Whatever we see again and again and again, automatically that becomes our manifestation.
We start a karmic energy loop.
Yes. And that's how actually we are practicing in our abundance group, the visualization. So we are seeing with our third eye the reality that we really want to lead.
Mm.
So it is not only what we see with our physical eyes, but also it is true for the eyes that we have, the third eye or the mind's eye. With that
Psychic.
also, whatever we see, that manifest. So this is not in the book directly; it is not written, but it is what actually spirituality and the law of attraction, law of abundance teaches us.
Mm.
So
Even the
it's
harmlessness is very remarkable.
which one?
The beginning of this page is a harmlessness freed an individual from the bonds.
Yeah.
I remember being told that it's difficult to make out who is spiritually more advanced, but some signs are that they are harmless and they are gentle. They're not weak, they're just harmless and gentle. These are some of the
Yes.
signs.
Yes. There is a stream called, there is a sector called non-violent communication, and that is an extension, I think, of this principle. Even this
Mm.
line is also very important.
Yeah, it comes from there.
Yeah, it starts from here. Mind and emotions, embodying love, gentleness, and peace, eliminated limitations. So the limitation that we have, that is all existing in our mind, and that can be eliminated by the virtues like love, gentleness, and peace. These are three things the book is showing, but there are many other virtues also, which is very effective in eliminating those limitations. Fine, great. Thank you all for joining the session, and let's join tomorrow exactly at 1:30 again.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Yash.
day. Thank you. Bye.
Good day. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.